Yo, we all tired of the meta, and I'm sure you've seen a bunch of anti-meta tips out there, so today I want to talk about the best anti-meta characters instead. The format of this video will be looking at important categories, their implications, and anti-meta tips along the way, and at the end I'll try to bring it all together to identify the best characters at handling that ranked cheese. But what is the meta? Y'all probably know it already, but it mostly revolves around high DP characters with great supers, armor, auto dodges, and insta sparks to spam sparking modes. It's changed a bit with the patches and updates, but you know, online will still be toxic, so people spamming unblockables and quick supers, skills like after image strikes still, transformations and fusions, and before there were giants and Dr. Zero and his android duo. But the meta will always revolve around super strong spamming characters. So let's start off the anti-meta-ness, beginning with Ki. The most important resource in the game, as you all know by now. In terms of meta, it's important for the Vanish War, where the one with more Ki wins if both parties are excellent at timing it, and winning results in 5 to 9k damage easily from the follow-ups, and that's before supers. But you all know that the real anti-meta usage of Ki as well to get damage in when they spam perceptions, after images, and even super counters. To run away if they rely on insta sparks with your Dragon Dashes. Dragon Dash ascends and descends movement patterns while changing directions. It's great to avoid their Z burst dashes, pursuits, Ki blast spams, and ult, especially the unblockable ones now that they're slower. Or try to match their sparking mode with yours, but regardless it requires Ki. Ki isn't distributed equally in this game though. There are some characters with a skill that brings it to the max. This is a much more guaranteed skill needing 2 skill counts that can be interrupted, like insta sparking ones requiring 4 skill counts now, Jesus. With this, you can constantly apply pressure. When you run out, just pop it to continue it, preventing them from being free to spark up or tag or whatever. You can use more Ki blast to punish after images while running that 10-second timer down and other things like that. You can land very damaging combos as you can go into supers more often, even right after stun hits like heavy finish if you land it, or charge sweep, since you'd have enough time to use the skill and then super to combo it all together. This also fuels your passive running away strategies to make sure you can stay safe from unblockable and spammable cheese, and just always have an edge when leading into Vanish Wars and such. There are different versions of this skill. The good one is full power charge we see with base Gohan here, but full power is an instant spark one. SSJ Goku Super, who's an example of this skill that gives other buffs on top of Ki as well. There's Sleep that restores HP as well as Ki, as you can see with Mini Goku, Base Goten, Majin Buu, Gohan Buu, Kid Buu. These aren't as good Ki wise since it's not a cutscene, takes longer to actually sleep through it, and costs more skills, so not as reliable. There also used to be High Tension, but that no longer generates Ki. I'll make a video on that later. But these following characters have some version of a Ki regen: UI Saiyan Goku, Blue Vegito, Base Gogeta Super, all 3 Base Gohans, and Super Saiyan Adult and Future Gohan, Frieza Force Soldier, Kui, Super Garlic Jr., Broly Super Base, Rosie Base Kill. And now with a new change, so does Super Saiyan 4 Goku with his 5-second skill, on top of the buffs. So with these characters you can accomplish and maximize more anti-meta strategies while just staying a lot more efficient than others. Speaking of skill count varies too. Mr. Saiyan enters the game at 3, but that doesn't matter much since he's definitely not an anti-meta character. But there are these at 2, Babidi, Android 13, Frieza Force Soldier, Kui, Teen Goku, Roshi Max Power, Cyber Mode. And also Babidi maxing out at 7 with 59 characters maxing out at 6 skill counts instead of 5 or 4. Going back to Ki, not all characters start with the same amount of Ki bar at the beginning of matches or when they switch in. Some start with 3 bars including Super Saiyan Mid Goku, Bardock, Super Vegeta, Ultimate Gohan, Super Trunks, Max Power Roshi, Piccolo fused with Kami, Ginyu, Final Form Z, Frieza, Golden Frieza, Metal Cooler,
Android 16, 18, both 17s, both 13s, Perfect Cell, Babidi, Deborah, all 3 forms of Super Buu and Kid Buu, Maju, Pan, Shinron, Super Garlic Jr., Z, and Super Broly, Legendary Super Saiyan form.
Some have 4. And then there's Majin Vegeta at 5. Regardless of how much they start with, they all only regenerate the same first 2 bars and then stop afterwards, unless your android is gaining constant Ki. Implication of this can be interesting. If you're mid combo with no Ki on your leading character, you can tag out into these 3 plus bar characters and super ASAP. Some of them have supers that cost less than the amount of Ki they come in at, so they'd have leftover Ki to continue pressuring anyways. Also useful if you land Ki Blast from further away, since it depletes your gauge. Tagging after Ki Blast hit from anywhere leads to a follow-up from the tagger, and with restored Ki. Speaking of supers, let's focus on that for a sec, specifically 2-bar supers. Instead of prioritizing sparking and ultimates, focusing on landing damage as often and quickly as possible leads to better results usually. These blast supers can be super countered, only high speed evaded, the vanish, so using them early in combos is one of the best ways to avoid that cheesy super counter mechanic and try to guarantee some damage. Most people land it after the low sweeps, heavy finishes, especially from behind, but those are also high speed evadable. Although you can then combo with your key regen skills after those into the super as covered earlier. Some characters can combo after lift strikes, sonic sways, grabs, smashes, etc. inconsistently. But the safest way is after a knockdown from full 3-step strings, as you can vary your timings. But the best way to set it up is by repeating gapless rush chains like flying kicks for early knockdowns. And again, these depend on range limitations. You can also do it after lift strike combos. And this is where 2-bar supers are extremely useful since they can be used more frequently and more quickly than others, making it a more consistent source of damage with limited resources. Now, which characters have these? For their Blast 1, All Adult Gohan, Super Saiyan 2 Teen Gohan, Base Goten, Tien, Chaozu, Piccolo, Frieza Force Soldier, Base Zarbon, Z Frieza, 1st, 3rd, 4th, Mecha forms, and here's a list of the rest. For their Blast 2s, Base Goten having both, Kid Gohan, Nappa, Z Vegeta, Base, Super Saiyan 2, and Blue Sin Shenron having both, and the rest shown here, with a variation on ranges, rushes, etc., which can alter your timings around. A little add-on to these, some of these characters have unblockable blast as well. You got Base Goku Black, Super Baby 2, Base Future Trunks, Super Saiyan Gotenks Yajirobe, Base Roshi Dodoria, Z, Final, Mecha, and Super Base Frieza, Metal Cooler, Android 16, 18, Sus Popovich, Dabura, Evo Boo, all 3 Super Boos, Maju, Super Garlic Jr., Legendary Super Saiyan Z Broly, and Base Super Broly, Tapion, Ribian, Kakunsa, Mr. Saiyan, Dr. Willow, Great Ape Baby. Damage-wise though, for 2-bar supers, only Super Saiyan 2 Teen Gohan Blast 1 cracks up to 10k damage, and Whis Blast 2 at 12k. And if you want to compare to regular ones, the other 2 bars can do up to around 8k. And others with an unblockable super as another option next to having a 2-bar one include Metal Cooler, Mecha Frieza, Base Form Frieza, Majub, and even 18 when Outfit 5 is equipped to get different blasts super with Destructo Disc. So those 6 characters have an edge to be able to handle different situations better than others. I'm sure you know the implications of unblockables, like setting them up in a more fake way, using it as an option select to counter both perception and block, counter any close range engagements, and much more. Speaking of unblockables though, there are 32 unblockable ultimates in the game, which are actually more than just unblockable supers, and some being above average damage. Why? Just why? Those were the main anti-meta factors, but there are 2 more things that can complete a character, and that's with combo breaker skills. These are your explosive waves that end their hits and push them off. This way you don't have to totally rely on super counters, since this is an easy input that always works without timing. And sometimes this can be your only hope to consistently escape some situations, especially the resets and loops that you just can't manage to vanish. Some characters get added bonuses from it, like Bardock going into sparking mode, although requiring more skill counts. Characters with these include most of the Giants, almost all the Vegetas, Cabba, Base Vegito, the Super Saiyan Gohans, almost all the Trunks, most of the Frieza family, most of the androids, and a lot more. It's just nice to have that easy on-demand save combo breaker in your toolkit. And finally, health regen skills. As shown a bit earlier, the rate is different for every character, from 30% with the boost to 40% with Cooler, and 100% with Yajirobe, for example. This ain't really an anti-meta thing, just something useful to have since health keeps you alive in order to win, you know? Characters that have this are limited to Mini Goku, Yajirobe, Frieza Force Soldier, Kui, Metal Cooler, Majin Buu, Super Buu, and with Gotenks and Kid Super Garlic Jr., Zamasu, Fused Zamasu Base, Jiren, and Beerus. So with all that being said, I'm sure you've learned a couple things in this video to help you make a strategy of your own, but with all this in mind with their DP values, it's finally time to see who I think are the best anti-meta characters. There's Adult Gohan, DP going from 4 to 7, 7 loses full power, but 4 to 7 all having 2-bar supers plus Wild Sense at 4 and Explosive Wave at 6. Future Gohan 2 at 5 and can go to 6, but he loses that full power charge in exchange for a barrier combo breaker skill. Teen Gohan to a lower degree from 4 to 7, but his 4 and 6 forms aren't as efficient with supers, and 7 is like meta vibes anyways with his skills and unblockable ult. Shinron is at a DP 7, but very low key, having two 2-bar supers, explosive wave to get them off you, and being able to transform into a stronger form. That 7 DP do make him a bit expensive though. Out of all the Goku, Super Saiyan Super is the most anti-meta because of his wall access and ki regen plus buff skills, on top of good supers and the ability to transform to blue, but he is at 6. Dabura is 6, but he probably has one of the best supers in the game, being unblockable and dealing 9 to 11k damage, on top of after image strike, evil breath, a unique unguardable with unique property skills, and his sword to slice through guards. 18 at a DP 5 with a 2-bar super, the other one being unblockable with Alpha 5 and Android Barrier to stop combos. Baby Vegeta being able to go to 5 to 7. Base having a 2-bar super with explosive wave combo breaker that's still present in his final and giant forms, and having an unblockable as well. There's Majub at 6 with the 2-bar supers, unblockable one, and some useful low costing skills. Frieza having 2-bar supers at first and third forms, with first form having an unblockable, both being a low 5 DP. I'd also include the other Frieza and cooler ones, but those can get into meta territory, so I don't know. Base Bojack at 5 with trap shooter, 2-bar super, and a barrier. Also the ability to transform while holding on to that combo stopper. Rosie is nice because she's a very quick one with a full power charge and insta super, but she do be at 5. Tien's a great earthling at 4 DP with wall sense, solar flare, and good supers. Dodon Ray only costing 2 and with a highly damaging ult. Piccolo following the same logic, although the skills aren't as good. Goten at 4 with 2-bar supers and after image, being able to go Super Saiyan and fuse into a very strong but meta Gotenks. Same with base Kale. I know the Berserk one is hella meta, but base still got it with skills like Rosie's. Super Garlic Jr. in a way because of his Macchio Star buffs and heal, and damaging super starting with 3 key bars too, although he does feel more slow, but he's at 4. Another movie character, Lord Slug at 4 having a 2-bar and explosive wave. Zarbon is nice being at 3 with a 2-bar super, being able to transform for more damaging supers and false courage there for armor. Even Cell Jr. at 3 with explosive wave and solar flare combo. He's my personal favorite low DP fella and just so cute, bro. But there's also Kui, Frieza Force Soldier, and other names you've seen pop out throughout this video, but they aren't as strong as the others here. Those are some of my anti-meta characters, but I also gave you a lot of resources to pick your own favorites and unique teams. Let me know who you think are the best anti-meta ones in the comment below. These fellas will probably become the new meta eventually, to be honest. And as for DLCs, I didn't include them in this video since they're new, so they're already kind of meta. I'll cover them in a future video breaking them down thoroughly. Thanks for watching. I hope you stick around with the channel, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.
Cannon!